There's a concept in behavioral psychology called present bias. It's our brain's deeply wired tendency to favor immediate rewards over future ones, even when waiting would clearly benefit us more. And there's another one called loss aversion, the idea that the pain of losing something feels almost twice as powerful as the joy of gaining it. I bring these up because the moment most Americans turn 62, both of these forces hit at the exact same time. And that collision, it quietly shapes one of the most consequential financial decisions of their entire lives. Here's the thing. About 2/3 of Americans file for Social Security the moment they become eligible at 62. Not because a financial advisor recommended it, not because they ran the numbers, but because the benefit feels available, it feels earned, and something in the brain says, why would I leave money sitting there? That's present bias at work. That's loss aversion doing its job. And I get it, I really do. But what if that instinct, as human as it is, might be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars? Or, and this is what I want you to sit with today, what if filing early is actually the smartest move you could possibly make? Let me explain, because this is where it gets interesting. Think of your Social Security benefit like a faucet connected to a pipe you've been filling your entire working life. Every paycheck, every tax deduction, that was pressure building in the pipe. Now, the longer you wait to open the faucet, the stronger the flow. Wait until 70 and the flow rushes out powerfully. Open it at 62 and the flow is lighter. But here's what nobody tells you. If you wait too long, some of that water never reaches you. It stays in the pipe, unused, gone. No refunds, no do-overs. So the real question isn't, should I wait? The real question is, when do you turn on the faucet so you actually collect what you earned? Now let me ground this in real numbers because the math matters. Take someone, let's call him Pat, a solid earner, about $90,000 in his file working year. If Pat files at 62, he receives roughly $2,238 a month. At his full retirement age of 67, that jumps to about $3,198. Wait until 70, and he's looking at nearly $3,966 a month. On the surface, waiting looks like the obvious winner. But most people don't realize the full picture. There's a concept called a break-even analysis. Filed early, you get smaller checks for more years. Wait, you get bigger checks but fewer years. Those two paths cross somewhere in your early 80s. Live past that point, winning wins. Live shorter, filing early puts more money in your total pocket. Here's what shifts the math, though. Most people assume life expectancy is around 79, but that's life expectancy at birth. If you've made it to 62 in decent health, the Social Security Administration estimates you'll likely live to around 84. That changes everything. At that life expectancy, Pat filing at 62 could actually collect about $72,000 more in total lifetime benefits than if he had waited until 67. That surprises people. We've been so conditioned to believe waiting is always better that we never question it. But reduce that estimate by just 3 years, say Pat lives to 81, and waiting becomes the better call. Drop it further, and the optimal filing age might actually be somewhere in the middle, like 65. And that's the moment the illusion breaks. This decision isn't really about picking the right age. It's about navigating the one variable no calculator can solve: how long you'll live. Most people also overlook inflation adjustments. Every year, Social Security rises with the cost of living. And here's where it quietly compounds. A 3% increase on $3,966 is a very different number than 3% on $2,238. Over decades, that gap doesn't just grow, it accelerates. The difference between filing at 62 versus waiting until 70, when properly modeled, can reach $246,000 over a lifetime. That's not a rounding error. That's a life-changing number. So yes, in many cases, waiting wins. But life isn't lived in spreadsheets, and there are very real, very rational situations where filing at 62 isn't just acceptable, it's the single smartest move you could make. The first one is hard to say out loud, but it has to be said. Your health or your family history. If the men in your family rarely made it past their early 70s, or if you've already experienced a serious health event, then your timeline may not match the national averages, and most financial advice is built entirely on those averages. Waiting for a larger monthly check only makes sense if you're alive long enough to collect it. Choosing early in that context isn't pessimism, it's precision.
The second reason is about living. Retirement doesn't happen in a straight line. There are what some call the go-go years. Early retirement, when you're energized, curious, ready to say yes to everything you postponed. Then come the slow-go years, then eventually the no-go years, when your world naturally gets quieter. Here's the question no one asks. Is $1 at 63 the same as $1 at 83? Mathematically, sure. Experientially, not even close. I once heard about a man who did everything right, saved aggressively, delayed retirement, built real wealth, and then within 2 years of finally stopping, his health shifted. The adventures he planned never happened. The money was there. The life he imagined wasn't. That's not a financial failure. That's a timing mismatch. And sometimes the wisest financial move is aligning your money with your actual life. The third reason shifts from me to us. If your spouse has a lower earnings record or didn't work long enough to qualify for strong benefits, they may be eligible for spousal benefits of up to 50% of your full retirement amount. But they can't access a single dollar of that until you file. So while you sit patiently waiting until 70, your spouse collects nothing. When you zoom out and look at the total household picture, filing early might not derail your strategy, it might complete it. Fourth, and this one is deeply human, if your spouse is the higher earner and has a serious health condition, the entire math shifts. Here's how. You file for your own benefit at 62, collect something while your spouse is still alive, and then when they pass, you switch to their larger survivor benefit. You've built a bridge. You've captured income during a period when otherwise you would have received nothing. That's not just strategy. That's compassion built into a plan. Fifth, the stock market crashes. This one is rarely talked about outside advanced planning circles. If you retire relying on investments and the market drops 40%, which we have seen and will see again, you're forced to sell assets at the worst possible moment, logging in losses. Financial professionals call this sequence of returns risk, and it's one of the most dangerous threats to a retirement plan. But if you're collecting Social Security, you have a guaranteed income floor. You don't need to sell. You give your portfolio time to breathe. And if the crash happens before you started withdrawing, you can use your government-backed income to invest while the market is discounted. That's not reckless. That's strategic clarity under pressure. Sixth, tax strategy. Up to 85% of Social Security benefits can be taxable, but only depending on your total income. Many people have a window in early retirement when that taxable income is unusually low before required minimum distributions kick in from retirement accounts. Filing during that window means your benefits may be taxed lightly or not at all. It's not just what you collect, it's what you keep. And seventh, the most honest one, you simply need the money. No optimization, no strategy, just life happening the way sometimes does. Medical bills, job loss, family needs. In those moments, Social Security is exactly what it was designed to be, a foundation. Using it isn't a failure, it's the system working as intended. Now, bring all of this together. Imagine a woman, let's call her Sandra. She's 62, just retired. Husband is 65 with a serious heart condition. Her benefit at 62 is about $2,100 a month. She waits thinking the extra $800 a month at 67 is worth it. Her husband passes at 69. She would have collected nothing from her own benefit for 7 years, roughly $176,000 left uncollected before switching to his larger survivor benefit anyway. Instead, she files at 62, collects that $176,000, and then transitions to his larger benefit after he passes. That's responsive timing, not predicted timing, responsive. Here's what I want you to walk away with. Run your numbers, then shift your life expectancy by a few years in either direction and watch how quickly the right answer changes. If it flips easily, that tells you something important. There is no single perfect decision. Think as a household, not just an individual, and stay flexible because a plan made today isn't a contract written in stone. The Social Security Administration once built a calculator to help people with this decision and then removed it because people were treating a starting point like a final answer. Don't make that mistake. Your life is too layered, too personal, too real to be reduced to a single formula. The goal isn't to optimize a number, it's to make a decision that actually fits your life.